Hello and welcome to the All Things Social Impact podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Kanaris, and I'm joined today by Kelly Torres Betancurt. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Kelly, welcome to the All Things Social Impact podcast. It's really exciting to have you on board all the way from the Netherlands. We managed to find some time, so that's great. Kelly, would you mind telling the audience a little bit about you, your work, and a bit about your background?
Yeah, hi Andrea, and thank you for inviting me. I'm Kelly Torres Betancurt. I'm from Colombia, but I'm living in the Netherlands for 3 years now. I work as a sustainability and communication consultant. I help purpose-driving companies manage their sustainability, avoid risk, strengthening their brands through credible, empathetic, and strategic communication. And last year, I finished my master's degree in sustainability and CSR, which gave me the opportunity to confirm that communications is an essential partner for sustainability, you know?
Yes.
And now I truly believe that communication is an essential part because it's not just doing good. Of course, it's the first part because you have to take action, but you have to tell why are you doing your challenges and your milestones, of course. But with
Yeah.
communication, you inspire people, spark empathy. So that's why I was looking to combine communication with this master about
Yeah.
sustainability.
Wonderful. Thank you for that background. So, to frame this conversation for people, given your background in communications, then into sustainability, if I was to say to you social impact, so that people understand when you say social impact, what you're talking about, what does it mean for you and your work?
Well, social impact is for me when I talk as a communicator is like human communications, because when you are talking about social impact, it's about how you connect with people
Yeah.
from the inside. It's not just like a superficial relationship. It's a really true deeply connection. And I also want to add here. I describe myself as a highly sensitive person.
Yes.
And when you are, or when you have this characteristic in your personality, you have this deeply feelings, emotions that allow you to connect with people. And
Yes.
when you hear those stories from different people, even if they are impacted for anyone else, or they create this meaningful impact, and you are sensitive, sometimes uh, it's not like you put yourself in the shoes of others. It's like, because at the end you're never going to feel the same as other person.
Yeah.
But if you're sensitive and you have these levels of empathy high, you almost can say that you feel the same. And when you feel the same, try to feel the same, you can say, okay, I'm here. I'm here next to you. Let me know how can I help, even
Yeah.
if it's stay by their side and stay silent.
Yes. I think that's a really good point. We had a discussion yesterday in our pre-discussions where I got to know you a bit better. So it was great. And we had this in common, that the highly sensitive personality type, of which is only really a recent addition to the personality type for those who want to go and look it up. It's an interesting one. But it really is that high empathy is very much at the cornerstone of that personality type. And we were talking about how empathy is a double-edged sword. Like it can really be a positive for all the reasons that you outlined, that it helps you to connect a lot quicker. It helps you to have a deeper emotional understanding of what the other person may be going through, even if it's not exact, because you're able to sort of put yourself in someone's shoes and kind of have that feeling. Then whilst it's not exact, it does give you that ability to really understand and then sort of, be there for them and relate to them in a way that perhaps people without that kind of empathy might not be able to do. But we also talked about the shadow side of empathy, didn't we? Which was probably less talked about. Empathy is always talked about as a positive, and not the fact that there could be a negative side to that. Because when you're coming purely from an emotional perspective, I guess the danger is that you get affected because it can be very draining. it's very difficult to manage those emotions. But also that when you're engaging that emotional brain, you're not engaging the other side of your brain, which may be where solutions lie. And it's important to understand that so that you can come up with mechanisms to manage it so that you use your empathy for its strengths and can counter some of these negative components of
Yeah,
your
yeah,
personality type. You manage that in your work because it is challenging when you're highly sensitive to be working in these kinds of circumstances.
yeah. To give you some context about this, I just realized that I have this characteristic like 1 year ago. So
Mm.
I was dealing with this my whole life.
Yes.
Um, it's like this is normal. I always asking myself, this is normal that I'm feeling like this when I'm facing or hearing some. And for example, when I was living in Colombia, I had the opportunity to work with a foundation that cares about vulnerable children, children who don't have parents, or children who are have been separated from them because they have suffering abuse or some kind of a violation, you know. And in one of I had the opportunity to work with them, and the first activity that I participate with that foundation was with children from 0 to 10 years old. And I was looking another volunteer that was holding a baby like 6 months age, and I went close by them, and he saw me, the baby saw me, and he just lunged toward me. I picked him up, and when I asked about his name and his story, his name is Samuel, and Samuel is the name of my youngest brother.
Yeah.
I cried immediately because it's like I can imagine if my brother is suffering this kind of things because he's alone. He didn't have parents because now he was adopted, fortunately, the baby. And in that moment, I decided to visit him like often, weekly,
Yeah.
because I couldn't stop to feeling, I was thinking that I need to do more for him, give him the love that maybe I gave to my brothers, because I have two little brothers, youngest brothers. And always I was like asking myself, how can I do more for those children? And in that moment I didn't know how to manage that.
Yeah.
That's like I feel
Those
like
emotions can be
down.
quite intense. They were intense, the feelings.
Exactly, super intense, overwhelming. And I would have loved to know that I was highly sensitive person in that moment, and maybe looking for some, mechanisms where I can put
Yeah.
boundaries. Because when you are so sensitive, I mean, you have to see that like a strength, but also, as we talked about yesterday, we need to put boundaries, and
Yes.
also find a way to face it after you absorb all of those emotions. And
Yeah. That's easier said than done, though, isn't it, Kelly? I mean, it's easy to say, observe those emotions, put them where they belong. And this isn't about, I always say, and I remind myself, this isn't about me. This is not, it's about
exactly,
them. And I think that's the hardest thing to do when you're feeling it, when you're in the middle of those feelings. Like, it's a lot easier to say it than it is to do it. Have you
yeah.
developed, since you found out, have you developed mechanisms that help you kind of put that distance and those boundaries in place?
I mean, not. I think I don't have like a exact mechanism to deal with that, but because I just realized this 1 year ago. But
Yeah.
what works for me is find a moment where I can stay silent. I mean, I'm talking to me, stay silent, and try to let my nervous system to calm down, because I start thinking about it. I can be far for those thoughts, and It's like maybe walk for a walk through the nature, but I need to stay silent, like calm my system, because I feel otherwise I feel like I need to do more, and it's
Yeah.
like make me responsible for that pain or for that emotions,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what it never happened. That's you have to stop. You have to put boundaries. But for example, some people can I don't know, make up with a mantra and say like this is not my pain, it's not my responsible, but I can stay present, but be conscious that you are not responsible of that. Of course you can do
Yes.
something, but what you can do with your resources, with your abilities, with
Yeah.
yourself, but limit.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because at the end of the day, and some of the things I use is this isn't about me. It's not my life. I will get to go home. So, for example, when they're saying to me, "What would you do?" and I can go, "Well, it's not about me; it's about you." So it's what would you like to see? What would you like to do? What are you experiencing? And I say that as much for me as I do them because it's reassuring them that this is actually about you, regardless of what I might be feeling about what's going on. I have to remind myself and them that this is about you. I'm here to talk about or to support you. And if I can do that, then I'm in a better position, I find, to walk beside them and say, I'm here to empower you, to support you, to build your capacity and capability so that when I go, you can continue on your path. And the reason I think that it's most important is, like I said, I literally will be going home at some point. I'll be going to my home, to my life, and having to remind myself that what I'm hearing, as much as I'm feeling it and it's feeling very much about me because they're my feelings, is that it's actually not my life. And I have to remind myself that, yeah, it's actually not about me. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. You have to put those boundaries. Otherwise, you're going to shut down, burn out, and that's not good for
Yeah.
you.
And burnout is a real thing. Burnout is a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's not pleasant. Burnout
exactly.
is really not
Exactly.
pleasant.
Not pleasant.
Yeah.
Definitely. Even if you
Yeah.
have the best heart, that you want to do the best for them, you have to be well. I mean, you have to be as good as possible to help others.
Yes, that's so true. That's true. We can do more when we find that way to be in that place. I think you can do more to help people when you're not emotional. And that doesn't mean that you don't connect emotionally, that you can't connect and understand the emotion or care. That's not what we're saying. I just want to make sure people don't think when they're hearing this that we're saying stop caring and stop feeling. It's not that. Feeling those emotions, but recognizing that it's not about you, and that for you to be able to support people properly, you have to put your emotions in their right place and
Exactly.
put, like you rightly say, those boundaries, which is a really good way of putting those boundaries between your life and their life, and so that you're better able to help them. I think you can help more people that way as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because at the end, as I said, sensitivity, I mean, being empathetic is an strength. Of course, have this thing that we are talking about, but at the end, the goal is not shut down, is stay human and compassionate.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's the point.
yeah. We don't want to lose the empathy. We want to keep the empathy, but keep it in control and in perspective. So that's wonderful. You've worked in communications in corporate social responsibility, but then went to university to do sustainability. So you've kind of done it in, I guess, the upside down way, if you like. Some people would say, well, normally you go and, you do university and then you go on. And I think that means I'd be really interested in how that was as an experience for you, because one minute you're practicing it, then you're going and learning the theory. How did you find, like, were there moments that you went, aha, that makes sense now what I did, that like validating in some way some of the work that you did? And were there moments where you went, that might sound really great in theory, but it doesn't quite work that way in the ground? Like, do any of those kind of stories, how was that experience for you?
Yeah, was crazy because Actually, I studied advertising,
Yeah.
and my experience is in corporate communications.
Yeah.
And when I started working in this field of corporate communications in a company, pharmaceutical,
Yeah.
of course, you have to connect with people. It's not just writing, it's also
Mm.
connecting and listening stories inside and outside of the company. Like 5 years after I was working in this, I had the opportunity to involve myself in CSR strategies and initiatives with a volunteer program because in that moment the company doesn't didn't have a strategy about CSR or sustainability. They are doing things, but like in different areas, but not like a strategy per se.
Yeah.
So we started this journey with this volunteer program, and in that moment, where was I start asking myself, okay, you're working in volunteer program, but also communication. You are working in both, and you love this.
Yeah.
I was saying to myself, like, Kelly, this is your purpose of life. You really want to help people because
Play.
also you have to hear their stories and you have to tell the stories at the same
Yeah.
time. I have to play two roles. And at some moment, when I was working with this volunteer program, I say, well, how can I get all this together? I mean, communication and my passion for social impact, to make
Yeah.
a meaningful impact. And I didn't have any idea of like a knowledge of how to do in the best way. I mean, practices. I didn't have any idea of how to do it or how to connect communication with CSR.
Yeah.
3 years ago, like, yeah, 3 years ago that I decided to move here to the Netherlands with my husband. And was that moment when when I thought that I want to pursue this master degree in sustainability because I wanted to give like a solid foundation to that passion to make a meaningful
Yeah.
impact.
Yeah.
Why? Because uh, I don't know, for me, it's important to have this knowledge, these concepts clear in my mind
Yeah.
to do something, to, I don't know, launch a campaign or launch some messages. I need to connect that knowledge with my passion, with the things that I want to do about transforming lives. And that's why I say, okay, I'm going to pursue this master, but it's not like, okay, I'm just focused on this in sustainability and let away communications. No, it's like I found a way to connect both
Yes.
communication and sustainability because I said at the beginning in my introduction, at the end, nowadays, sustainability cannot live without communication because we need to inspire people,
Yeah.
to connect with people, to make a meaningful impact or bigger impact, or maybe to inspire them to join to our cause, or maybe looking at a cause in their communities, or and that's one point. And the other point is with communication, you have to like adapt your messages, your narrative from each stakeholder, if I can say that. I mean, it's different when you are talking about any topic with your family, with your friends, with your customers, and even if you are a non-profit or profit
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah.
If you are working in a non-profit organization, you have stakeholders and you have to communicate them everything that you are doing, your impact, and also attract inversion or budget, for your.
Yeah. That's a good point because there's constraints. It's not just having the idea and I'll go off and implement it. The reality is in a corporate environment, which is where you've done a lot of your work,
Yeah,
there's budgets constraints. Um, the I guess, values of the organization that you're working for and their perception of, you know, for social responsibility, sustainability, social impact, and how important it is in relation to all of their other business commitments. So how did you manage that? Because you've kind of were doing that kind of work and in that environment and then went and did your studies. So you would have experienced a lot of what you've learnt about, the constraints of sustainability within corporate, but had already lived it
Yeah.
to a degree.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's difficult. I think that is one of the biggest challenge that I face, because communication is, I mean, in my experience, communication is one of the things that leaders think is a ticking box. And when leaders think it's a ticking box, like is part of your to-do list and check, and
Yeah.
that's difficult because you need to understand the whole, I mean, the overview of the business, and connect that with, I mean, connect your narrative with every area of your company. And when you also are involving in sustainability, you have to pursue your leaders, because sometimes the leaders in Latin America region is still difficult, that they believe that sustainability is not something that nice to have. It's something that you have to do
Yes.
strategically, or because there are some regulations that you have to do it. And yeah, I mean, it's challenging also when you are looking for budget to present any project. Okay, I have this organization, they are asking for partnership with us, and this, we need this, but if they don't believe, it's impossible that we can make a partnership with them. And that's the thing that communication have to persuade I mean, the leaders, but also the organization that we want to work, or they want to work with us. And in that moment was difficult, was really difficult, because we are in this transition to say them, to tell our leaders that this is important, and we have to make a bigger impact, a meaningful impact in an organization that connect with our purpose, of course, talking about the purpose of the company. And at the end, we have some advantages. I mean, it's not just give money for donation, that maybe they think about that, but you can strengthen your brand, you can strengthen your reputation, enrich your culture, attract people, retain your talent.
Yes.
A lot of advantages, not just in the economics perspective, but also in the social perspective. You are a good company, a company who
Yeah.
is doing,
Yeah.
talking about corporations.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there are some of those things that you don't have any control over
Yeah,
either. When you
yeah,
that's it's you, so you mentioned, like, trying to influence and coach. So I mean, that's one of the things that I guess communication skills, whether you're a communications expert or person, or whether you're in other components of social impact kind of work, I think having that communication skill set is critically important for things like, there are going to be times where you have to really market what you're doing, really influence people, really, like you said, I love that word you used a few times now, which is inspire people to want to do these things. Because some of them, they may enter it, like you rightly say, with it's because we have to do it and we're ticking box. So if you want them to go beyond that, that's the influence, that's the inspiration, that's the, getting them to buy into and understand the reasons why you might do more than just tick the box, and the value
yeah,
in doing that. Yeah.
yeah. We need to do it from the inside, because otherwise, you. I mean, talking in the perspective of corporation, you have to transfer this mindset and influence your leaders, your people, your employees first. And if the leader believe in this purpose, your people is going to believe also, because they follow you, you know. And that's the power of communications. And that's why I always say that we need to tell uh, also externally what we are doing, even if it's the challenges. Most
Mm,
importantly, the challenges that we are
yeah,
facing,
definitely.
because we can build trust. Also, we can find another partner that maybe can help us to solve those challenges. Uh, yeah, that's
Yeah, very important. And if you reflect back on your career, and what would you say your biggest challenges have been in terms of trying to create these social positive social impacts that you've been trying to create with the work that you do?
well. One of the challenges is that one that I told you about, influence these leaders to believe in communication is an essential part of everything. But also, I think that the most important is how I can transform the mindset of everyone, just to be like everyone, that when you are talking about your impact, is not like you are bragging. No, it's not your ego. Of course, maybe some people talking from their ego, but the thing is, not communication is not bragging. It's not show you and, hey, I'm here, I'm doing this. It's more like thinking about that. If you communicate, you are inspire people to make a bigger impact in the
Yeah,
world. Because I have meet people that are still thinking that, no, I don't want to tell my stories because it's like I'm, like say, hey, I'm here, I'm doing this. Look at me, like brag. But
yeah.
no, at the end is for inspiring people, for move people,
Yeah.
instruct.
I mean, stories are an interesting thing because they're powerful. Without a doubt, they are extremely powerful. People, when they hear someone's story and they can connect with it, it's definitely inspirational and can empower people and can move people. I also have this thing about stories though that I find really interesting, probably more now than it's ever been, and maybe it's the social media thing. There's we I think we have to be remember that people don't owe us their story. Stories are intrinsically personal, and people have the right to not tell their story for
Yeah,
whatever reason. Maybe it's too personal, maybe it's too sensitive, maybe they're just a private person, and maybe they are also shy, and maybe they don't want the limelight or you know it might not be their way even, of inspiring. Maybe they inspire in different ways. And I have seen this increasing pressure on people to tell their story. And I think it's powerful and it's great if people want to step into that space, but I equally know people who they just could never, like it's just not them. They wouldn't ever do it. And my message is always, you don't have to. We don't know anyone our story. Yeah.
absolutely. I think some years ago I consider myself one of those person that
Yeah.
didn't want my story. But yeah, this is a big challenge because you are going to find those kind of people that they don't want, and of course they have the right to don't say anything.
Yeah.
One of my projects now, because it's like my purpose of life, is identify those stories from people who are making an amazing job, even if it's little, because you don't have to do like a big thing to others. But this project is about how can I transform these invisible stories that maybe you heard from your friend or from your family, some member of your family. Try to work with that person and transform this story in something visible, stories that can inspire this empathy that I think we need in the world to change. I think all of the things, bad things that is going to happen now, empathy is one of the powerful tools that we have to, the resources that we have to change everything. And yeah, of course, maybe I'm going to find person that they don't want to tell the stories, but
Yeah.
my work will be try to influence them to tell them. Of course, no pressure because they have the right to say no, but the
Yeah.
idea is inspire others to do the same or bigger or yeah, bigger, meaningful.
Yeah. So when you obviously you'd like to use stories to transform. What are the social issues that you see are the ones that are dearest to you that you want to really address?
That's a good question.
I mean, there are many, but obviously this is your passion, and you're obviously driven to do this. And I'm just curious, is what are the big social issues that you would like to address in your storytelling and your
Yeah,
pursuit of sharing these stories and these invisible stories?
well, one of the biggest I think social issue that I want to address is everything related with children. I have, I don't know, I have some special connection with children,
Yeah,
and I can help to see children suffer, you know? And
yeah,
if I can find stories from people who is working with children, I don't know, making something meaningful with them, like the story that I told you before about vulnerable children who don't have parents, you know, and there are a lot of people doing excellent work. I know some foundations in Colombia. Now I'm going to start working with a foundation in Peru also. And yeah, if you ask me about an specific social issue, I think is with children. I think they are
is
the
it?
most.
Is there anything specific with children? Is it orphan children? Is that your particular area? Just because if people are listening and they'd like to connect with you, it would be great for them to understand. Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean now I'm not just focused on children. I think with this foundation that I'm going to work in Peru is not just children. They also impacted different communities. For example, uh, women who are responsible for their home and they have to do everything for them, for their children, and how we can. I mean, this foundation is working with them, helping them to develop skills to create their own companies
Yeah.
and stories also like that. I mean, now as I said, now it's not just specific in children if I have this connection with that, but uh, I want to give a voice for any beautiful, meaningful story. Women, farmers, children, of course. I don't know anything. Even as I said, if it's the neighbor who is helping with other issue to
Yeah.
other neighbor, to other community, I want to hear that because not everyone think that these small things at the end is making a really good impact in other people.
Yeah. Yeah, Kelly, and we talked about that the other day, didn't we? How it's really interesting that a lot of time people might feel like it has to be big, like, this shift society or shift, social norms or whatever it might be, or it's a big issue like domestic violence or women's rights or whatever. And or they might think that it's got to be, out there in the community and homelessness or something like that. But you and I were talking about how In fact, just helping your family members, if you've got family members who are struggling and you help them, and maybe that's all you've got the capability, capacity to do at this time in your life, that has ripple effects, because when you help somebody, anybody, if it's family or extended family, and you help them, then that empowers them and gives them the capacity to then help other people. And it kind of ripple effects out like this, pebble that hits the water, and it kind of ripple effect outward. And I think that people I'd love to if I could tell anyone anything, is like, don't feel inadequate that someone's doing more or that you should do more. It's like, do what you can, do it well, and support people, and have an impact where you can have an impact, because you can guarantee, even though you might not see it, it is impacting further than you think.
Yeah, I can give you an example, simple example of this. I was walking with my dog through
Yeah.
a little path between forests, and in front of us came another person, but in the middle of the path was a glass, breaking glass in the middle of the. But he was close to that. The person was close to the glass first than us, and he stopped and he moved the glass to the one side of the path to avoid my dog or me or any children that it could be passed through to the path to hurt themselves with that glass. Could be simple, but at the end, he has the willingness to move this glass to prevent that other people can get hurt.
Yeah.
It's, that is simple, but for me, it was everything, because
Yes.
I was going in the same path. Simple but meaningful.
Yeah, and I think simple examples can really bring it home. And I think if you think of your family, I'm sure everybody has that family member that might be struggling with something, whether it's their health, or maybe it's trying to get their first job, or maybe they've been made redundant, whatever. And we all through life struggle. If you are able to help somebody, for example, with their CVs and to get them a job, then the flow on effect from that is that person gets a job, and then they feel more confident, and they feel more stable, and they feel more confident. And then when they're feeling more confident, they're going to be able to help other people. So, everything that we do that impacts others in a positive way will carry forward for sure. And I think that's a really good thing. It doesn't always have to be big. And if it is big, that's great. Like, that's even better. Like, not better, it's just, if you get to the point where you feel confident enough that I've got the capability, capacity, and the time to go beyond, then great. But I think it's nice to think of social impact also in that personal way. It can be helping your extended family and your family as well. That's just as valid and has a social impact. And maybe it's your community group, and maybe you go to the community centre or your sports groups or whatever. I mean, these are all positive impacts in the world. Yeah. So, if there was an example of the piece of work that you probably feel like that was the most rewarding, I guess, let's go with rewarding. Rewarding's the nice one, because there's a lot of frustrations in social impact work, because sometimes the issues we deal with can be quite challenging and quite difficult and complex. But it's really nice sometimes to reflect back on the ones that you felt was really rewarding, and why you found it rewarding.
Well, then when you that's a deep question. Yeah, I think when I feel that the other person feel better after any kind of help I can give him or gave them, you know, when I feel that they feel better, or maybe I could give them a really good I don't know, advice or resource to go forward by themselves. When I identify that, when I know that, I feel myself is in peace, you know? It's like, okay,
Uh,
I feel that I can do something good for them. or for that specific person, and that makes me happy, feel like like I am doing good. I don't have to I don't know, spend a lot of money to do something, but just even with my knowledge, if I transfer my knowledge to someone else, I feel that I did everything for that person.
Yeah, that's a lovely, I love that. I think I love the simplicity of that in the sense that I love the point that you make that it doesn't have to involve money, because in this space there's a lot of talk all the time about funding this and funding that and getting money for this, but you make a really important thing that sometimes human connection and the knowledge that we share and the capability and capacities that we transfer through our communications and our connections with each other can be just as powerful as any kind of money that could be thrown at a project or a program. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great thing. So here's just to wrap things up, because I'm conscious of your time as well. What would be, for our listeners, for our viewers out there, what would your advice be to somebody who is pursuing a career in social?
Well, of course, I'm going to talk based on my experience and professional and personal experience. But what I could say is social impact when we are talking about human issues, And when you are talking about social issues, of course, means people. You
Yeah,
need, these human issues needs the first priority, human communication. And human communication is connect with people, empathize with them, build trust,
yeah,
and inspire them to take action. Even if it's a small, as we are talking about, even if it's a small action.
yeah.
With human communication, you can do a lot of things. You can achieve a lot of things and inspire people to join to your cause, to your purpose, to help you also in any kind of situation that you are facing. So that would be the advice.
That's beautiful. And I couldn't think of a lovelier way to end the conversation with you, Kelly, because your story is inspiring. I love how you have, moved from the other side of the world to pursue a career from after working with corporations, then going into and going back and doing this social sustainability and bringing those two powerful things together to further your career and to, as you say, find those stories and give them a voice and bring them to light. I can't wait to see where you go. And I'm sure the audience is also very keen to see where you take these stories and the stories that you bring to light. So thank you very much, Kelly.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for this invitation. I really, really appreciate it because at the end, I think we are in the same path about stories. You are collecting amazing stories in your podcast, and I hope I am one of those amazing stories for the audience. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's see what's going to happen in the next couple of months with those stories.
We'll be watching closely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Andrea.
Thank you for watching. And if you're listening, thank you for listening. Remember to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe. When you subscribe to the channel, I get more interesting guests and we can all learn, grow, and share our stories together. Thank you for listening. Remember, hit the like button, share, subscribe.